Hey y'all, I'm the Midwest Hack. I appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you're having a very blessed day. In this video, I'm back to work on my D17. A couple weeks ago, I got it out, connected my 7-foot brush mower, and did some mowing with it. I learned a couple things during that first usage. Number one, this tractor tends to run a little bit hot, so I've got to do some looking at the cooling system. And number two, this tractor is a little bit light in the front end to be running a 7-foot brush mower. My first thought was to put on a front-mounted box similar to what Alice offered from the factory. I was going to add brackets and a box on the front that I could add weight to and make it so that I could stack additional weights on it as I wanted to. However, since my long-term plans with this tractor are to put a loader on it, I figured that box would end up getting in the way. Plus, it was going to take me some time to fabricate it. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that project right now, so as I thought about it some more, I came up with a different idea. I realized I could just pick up these mounting points on the frame and bolt a plate on there, then weld on a rod that sticks out a little ways and hang on just your ordinary weightlifting weights. I've got several of these weights around that I've picked up over the years, so the weights are going to cost me next to nothing, and the fabrication should be easy. All it'll be is a plate and a bar with a little bit of welding. So we'll get going with this. I hope today's video is going to be a short one, and hopefully tomorrow I'll be mowing without my front tires hanging in the air. I've done some playing around with some different ideas, and this is what I've come up with so far. I'll pick up these two holes. I've got the centers marked here. We'll hold it roughly in place. I'll cut a hole in it here to clear this bolt hole. And then I'll put the bar coming off up here towards the top. That should give me plenty of room. The 25-pound plate doesn't even come down to the bottom of the frame. And then I think that'll also give me enough room for 35, maybe even 45 pounders. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to get this transferred onto some steel and get a couple of these plates cut out. Here are the plates I came up with. If the video turns out all right, you should see the steps that I went through to get these where they're at. Otherwise, you'll just get to see the final product now. I have test fit these on both sides. I haven't actually bolted them up, but the two sides of the tractor appear to be pretty symmetrical. I can put either plate on either side and it'll work just fine. Of course, once I put a tube on here for holding the weights, then they're going to be side specific. But just in case anybody's going to replicate this, they do seem to be symmetric. You can make the same thing for both sides. Next up, I'm going to take a look at the length of the rod that I want coming off of here. Of course, the longer you go, the more weights you can stack on there. However, for this project, I just picked up a piece of black pipe when I was at the store for something else and saw these. I was like, you know, that might work. So we're going to give it a try. I have no idea if it's going to have enough strength to pull this off. If not, we'll just cut it off and put on a solid piece. I'll get going with that and show you what I come up with. This is how it turned out. I ended up taking the 3-foot piece of pipe that I bought and chopped it off right in the middle, so it's 18 inches long. Pretty sure if I stacked that full of weights, I'd end up bending the pipe, but I decided to leave it a little long, at least for now. I don't think I went over the sizes of the materials before. The plate here, this is 3/8 material. Probably wouldn't need to be that heavy, but I just happened to have a scrap around that would fit perfect. Basically, I just had to cut it in half and drill the holes is more or less all the machine work I had to do there. The pipe is 3/4 inch black pipe. Like I said a second ago, I bought a 3-foot piece, chopped it in half. Probably could do a 2-foot piece and chop that in half and do 12 inches instead. It does not stick out past the front tires. It stops short, and this tractor's set narrow right now. The bolts are 5/8 inch to go into the frame. I guess that pretty much covers it. I'm going to go ahead and get this installed, and we'll slide some weights on and verify that it holds them up. I don't think I mentioned before, but I did cut this at a slight angle. It's got a slight upward angle to it, so that as the tractor rocks back and forth, the weights aren't trying to slide around, at least not so much. For this first test, I'm just going to put 3 25-pound plates on. Obviously room for a whole lot more weight there. And a 3/4 inch pipe cap just to keep it from going anywhere. I'll get the other side done, then it's time to take this out for a test. If everything works out okay, I'll take them back off and get them painted. I just spent a couple hours out mowing, and it actually went pretty well. 150, or well, maybe about 160 with the brackets on there. 160 pounds of weight right over the front axle of this tractor made a pretty big difference. Now, to be fair, I also adjusted the tail wheel to raise the back end of take a little bit more weight off the back end of that mower, and adjusted the top link to again allow some weight on that tail wheel. So the tractor wasn't trying to lift quite as much, but you could still tell a very significant difference. The front tires didn't stay on the ground all the time, but it was significantly better than it was. A couple things I might do different if I were to do this again. I might put a little bit more up angle on these. On some of the side slopes, the weights did slide out a little bit. Never did they come all the way to the end, but they did come out a little bit. So I might angle them up a little bit. If I did that, of course, that's going to tip the weight into the sheet metal. So I'd probably put a spacer before that first weight went on. Space that out a little bit. I'd also cut these off quite a bit shorter. You can stack a lot of weights on here. There's no need for them to be 18 inches. Maybe 12. I'd probably target 12 if I were to build these again. One thing I was kind of concerned about was visibility, but you can't even see the weights if you're sitting straight in the seat. You have to look around the tractor in order to even see them. Visibility wasn't a problem at all, at least not with 3 weights on there. Now I'll stack a few more on, maybe it'd become a problem. That ties this project up. I will get these stripped off and painted. I thank you for stopping by, and I hope to catch you on the next one.